Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge Systems and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy, which is one of the premier institutions in India, and it offers examination coaching for UPSC CSC, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level and CLAT examination. And about me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Thumala and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I take up international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session is in regards to the DNA of the Hindu, that is today's of 29th of January 2021. And in this session, I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, wherein we will identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which will be useful for the UPSC perspective. And while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing, that is for the mains examination, your answers would be precise and concise, and thereby you will score higher marks in the mains examinations. And in toto, the session at AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis will help you to crack both prelims and mains of 2021. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we would be focusing at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day says that believing in yourself is the first secret to success. So what is very important is believe yourself and success will certainly follow you. And now we'll get into the DNA of the newspaper. And here we would be talking about, or the keyword which we would be emphasizing is the president's address. And the president address, which would be at the joint sitting of the parliament on January 29, 2021. The 18 opposition parties have decided, or they have announced the decision to boycott the President Ramnath Kovind's address, which would be a joint sitting of parliament. And this joint sitting of parliament would be at the start of the budget session, and the opposition parties, 18 opposition parties, have announced the decision to boycott the presidential address before the start of the budget session in solidarity with the farmers protesting against the three farm laws. So the reason why the 18 opposition parties have decided to boycott the presidential address at the joint sitting of the parliament, that is at the start of the budget session, is the reason is it is in solidarity with the farmers protesting against the three farm laws. And the opposition parties have said that the government's insensitivity and undemocratic attitude is the reason why the 18 opposition parties have announced the decision to boycott the president's address. And in turn, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi has appealed to the opposition to desist or to revoke the proposal which is announced by the opposition in regards to the boycotting the presidential address. And the Parliamentary Affairs Minister has also said that the government is ready to discuss all the issues, and the government is ready to also give as much time as required, and this will be set aside by the Business Advisory Committee. So here the keyword is the Business Advisory Committee will provide as much of time, and the government is ready to discuss all the issues, but the opposition should not or should desist from the proposed boycotting the presidential address. So the keywords here is the joint sitting of parliament and the budget session. This is the keyword: joint sitting of parliament and the president address and the business advisory committee. Now, apart from the news paper, we will be focusing exclusively for the prelims perspective, taking into consideration of the keywords, that is president's address. Now this is the additional information which I am providing for the prelims UPSC perspective, wherein the analysis what we would be focusing is that we will also focus at which are the articles which are pertaining to the president's address, so that you as a civil servant aspirant, you will have a comprehensive analysis at AKS IAS Academy, so that you would also look at the articles, and all the executive powers in regards to the presidential address is vested with the President of India. And there are two articles which talks about the president addressing the both the houses, and we know that President of India addresses both the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha at the beginning of the first session of each general election. Please do understand, President of India addresses both the houses at the first session of each general election when the lower house is reconstituted and it meets for the first time. And the president also addresses both the houses at the beginning of the session of each year. Please do understand here the keywords. He addresses both the houses at the first session of each general election, and he also addresses, that is the President of India also addresses both the houses at the beginning of this first session of each year. And the president's address or the speech highlights the government's policy priorities and the plans for the upcoming years. And now we'll focus at which are the articles which are pertaining or which are enshrined in the Indian Constitution provides about the president address or talks about the president's address. And Article 87 of the Constitution provides two instances when the president specially addresses both the houses of the parliament, that is at the instant of each general elections and at the first session of each year. This is as per Article 87, which provides two instances. One is at the each general election, first session of the each general election, and the second instance which provides the president to address as per Article 87 of the Indian Constitution is beginning of the first session of the each year. And there is another article, that is Article 108, which talks about or which provides the joint sitting of the parliament, and the joint sitting of the parliament is called by the president and it is presided by the speaker, or in the absence of the speaker it is presided by the deputy speaker of the Lok Sabha. And also in the absence of the deputy speaker of the Lok Sabha, the deputy chairman of the Rajya Sabha would be presiding the joint sitting in the parliament, and it is called by the President of India. So the two articles which you need to focus for UPSC prelims perspective is Article 87 and Article 108, which is crucial, and this is what the analysis what we are doing, which is essential for the UPSC examination perspective. Article 87 and Article 108 pertains to the President address. And now we will look at the Chief Minister or the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India has spoken about the first sitting of the Supreme Court in the year 1950. So, the Chief Justice of India, Shirate Bobde, has made very clear that the Supreme Court of India took its seat for the first time under the new constitution in the court chamber in the Parliament House on January 28, 1950. So it is 71 years ago the Supreme Court has had its seat for the first time in the court chamber in the Parliament House, and then on January 28, 1950 it was attended by Chief Justice of 13 High Courts, and then it was a 6-judge bench which sat on that day, and the first Chief Justice of India then on January 28, 1950 under a new constitution of India was Justice Sir Harilal Jekusundas Khania. So the first Chief Justice of India is Sir Harilal Jekusundas Khania, and then the first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, along with the ministers, were present in the court chamber in Parliament House, wherein the Supreme Court has taken its seat for the first time on January 28, 1950. So this information is crucial for the prelims examination, because we are talking about the Supreme Court taking its seat for the first time in the court chamber on January 28, 1950, and the first Chief Justice of India with 13 Chief Justice of High Court, and the first time 6-judge bench has sat for that day, and the first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And then 71 years ago, it was the first Attorney General was MC Setalwat. So this is also prelims perspective. And then in his speech, he has said that the importance of the Supreme Court, he has mentioned on that day, that is on January 28, 1950, saying that in building a nation, which would be national or international duties, it is the responsibility of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will certainly play a great and singular role, so that it will establish itself in the consciousness of the Indian people, and the Supreme Court will earn reverence through truth. So, in the speech by the first Attorney General MC Setalwat, he has emphasized the role and the importance of the Supreme Court in national and international duties. So this is a very crucial information for prelims polity perspective, which we have discussed in regards to the first sitting of the Supreme Court on January 28, 1950, and the first Chief Justice of India, first Attorney General of India, and the first Prime Minister of India, when the Supreme Court of India took its seat for the first time under a new constitution, that is India's new constitution, in the court chamber in the Parliament House on January 28, 1950. And there is another news which we would be looking at is Made in India COVID-19 vaccines. So while we are focusing on the keyword that is Made in India COVID-19 vaccines, we would also focus at what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has emphasized on delivering his speech on the sidelines of the virtual summit, or while he was addressing the virtual summit of World Economic Forums at Davos. So he has said that now we have Made in India COVID-19 vaccines, and this COVID-19 vaccines which are made in India has helped, or it has helped in speeding up the world's vaccination efforts, and it also, India's economy would also help the global economic growth to recover after the pandemic or global pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic situation. So our Prime Minister Narendra Modi was emphasizing on the importance of the Made in India COVID-19 vaccines, which has helped the world's vaccination efforts, and thereby by the Made in India COVID-19 vaccines, which has improved the India's economy, and further India's economy would help global growth. And this is a crucial emphasis made by our India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi while addressing the World Economic Forum at Davos, which was a virtual summit. And he said that now there are only 2 Made in India vaccines, but in the coming days there are more vaccines or more Made in India vaccines which are expected to arrive, and this more Made in India vaccines which are expected to arrive will help the world vaccinate more people in a expeditious way. So here the importance of more Made in India vaccines would vaccinate the world with more people, but in a expeditious manner. More people with more expeditious manner is the key phrase which is used by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, emphasizing on the importance or the greatness of Made in India COVID-19 vaccines, which are now 2, and in the coming days many more vaccines are expected. And he has emphasized on the ease of India's self-reliance aspirations concerns. So there are certainly concerns in regards to India's self-reliance aspirations, which is under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan program. And the Prime Minister has said that the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan program, which is India's self-reliance aspiration, this drive will support globalization with a new vigor. So he is trying to send a message to the world or global leaders that Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan program or India Self-Reliance program is not looking internally. It is not a nationalistic approach, but it is a globalism. Please do understand here concept of nationalism or nationalistic approach versus globalization. So here the emphasis by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the virtual summit at World Economic Forum which is at Davos is mentioning that the Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is the world thinks it is a nationalistic, inward thinking, is not a nationalistic, but in turn, India's self-reliance and made in India COVID-19 vaccine would support globalism. So he is trying to make sure that inward looking is not what is about Atmanirbhar Bharat, but Atmanirbhar Bharat and India's self-reliance aspiration would support globalism. And Atmanirbhar Bharat is committed to, he says that it is committed to global supply chain. So here the another keyword is along with the Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is committed to the global supply chain so that it would support the globalism with a new vigor. And the Atmanirbhar Bharat has the capacity and reliability which would be part of the global supply chain. And India, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has emphasized that India has a large consumer base, and this large consumer base which is tapped by the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan program or India's self-reliance would help world's economy also. And inviting, while addressing the World Economic Program, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi was inviting investors to consider to invest in India, and he was emphasizing that India is full of possibilities and self-confidence, and this India, which is with full of possibilities and self-confidence, has taken up or has come up with various structural reforms during the COVID-19 pandemic situations, and India has also come up with the new concept called as production linked incentives. So here the keywords which you need to focus is the structural reforms, and the new concept or the new incentive is production linked incentives. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi was emphatically inviting the investors, foreign investors, to invest in India. So he is making it very clear that, or he is emphasizing on the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan program, that is India's self-reliance, that is focusing or financially supporting India's indigenous manufacturing unit. At the same time, he is inviting the foreign investors. So it is Atmanirbhar Bharat, and also he is also inviting the foreign direct investments or foreign investors. So look at it, how balanced India is in regards to the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan program or India's self-reliance or financially supporting India's indigenous manufacturing unit, but at the same time supporting the globalization, inviting the foreign investors, saying that India is with full of possibilities, India is with self-confidence, India has come up with various structural reforms, India is now supporting production linked incentives, and India has a large consumer base so that foreign investors can have the confidence and come and invest in India. So this is a message what our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has put forth during his speech while he was addressing the virtual summit of World Economic Forum. So this is very important from economy perspective about the keywords what we have focused in regards to the world's vaccination efforts and how made in India vaccines would help the world vaccinate more people in an expeditious manner, and India's self-reliance aspiration, Atmanirbhar Bharat program, which would support globalism with a new vigor, and then global supply chain system, and also the structural reforms and the production linked incentives. All these are keywords, so that you need to emphasize on these keywords to prepare while you're going ahead with the prelims as well as mains UPSC perspective. And now we will look at the international relations, or the relations what Mr. Jaishankar is suggesting that it should be a way forward for India and China ties. And the External Affairs Minister of India, S. Jaishankar, has said that a recognition of mutual respect, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interest are the key for repairing India-China relations. Please do understand here. Yes, India-China relation is not at very good, or it is not in a conducive manner. That is why External Affairs Minister has said that recognizing mutual respect, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interest are the key to repairing India-China relations. And he called a year of 2020 as an exceptional stress in the relationship between India and China. And he has said that the relationship between India and China have profoundly been disturbed by the border crisis. So he has emphasized on the crisis, that is India-China boundary dispute, that is the border crisis, especially in the eastern Ladakh along the LAC between India and China, has profoundly disturbed the year 2020. And the year 2020 is the year of exceptional stress in the relation between India and China. And the need of the hour, what Mr. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, is emphasizing is that the recognition of mutual respect, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interest are the key to repair the India-China relations. And he also mentioned all this at the All India Conference of China Studies, which was organized by the Institute of Chinese Studies of Delhi and Institute of Technology Madras China Studies Center. He has made this statement about recognizing mutual respect, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interest to repair India-China relations, which are key so that the border crisis can be resolved. And he also said that the relationship is today at the crossroads between India and China, and choices that are made will have a profound repercussions. That means whatever both the countries have made, the choices has brought both the countries at the crossroads, and the choices which are made will have a profound repercussions, not just between India and China, but it will have a profound repercussions. That is, the consequences would impact the entire world. So look at it, in toto, what the External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, has spoken about the year which is of having a stressful relationship between India and China, which is at crossroads and which would have a profound repercussions not only to India and China but also to the entire world. And the External Affairs Minister has suggested to overcome or to repair the relationship that we should have 3 mutuals and 8 broad propositions, so that we can take forward the relationships in a very conducive manner. And he talks about mutual respect, as we did talk about mutual sensitivity and mutual interest are the determining factors to revamp the relationships between India and China, which is at crossroads. And he also said that the agreements which are made, which have already been reached between both the countries, that is India and China, both the countries should adhere to the entirety, that is both in letter and spirit. That means both the countries should have their commitment towards already reached agreements, and both sides needed to strictly observe and respect the LAC, that is line of actual control, and any attempts made by either countries which would be unilaterally to change the status quo was completely unacceptable. And this message was hinting towards China, because each and every time they ingress, that is Chinese soldiers ingress into the Indian territory along the LAC in the eastern Ladakh, they keep on changing the status quo. So External Affairs Minister has made it very clear that both the countries should strictly observe and respect the LAC, and any attempt unilaterally to change the status quo is completely unacceptable. And he also mentions about peace and tranquility in the border areas are the basis for the development of relationship, and these two are the domain or very crucial imperative to develop the relationship. And if peace and tranquility is disturbed, then the rest of the relationship between India and China would be disturbed, as peace and tranquility is the basis for the development of the relationship between India and China. And he also mentions about that both the countries should be remain committed to the multipolar world rather than unilateral decisions or unipolar world. Both the countries should remain committed to the multipolar world, and both the countries, that is India and China, should recognize that multipolar Asia was one of its essential constituents. So here we are talking about the superset, that is the multipolar world, and the subset of the superset is the multipolar Asia. So as multipolar Asia is one of the essential constituents of the multipolar world, so that both the countries should be remained committed to the multipolar Asia, and also should also focus on multipolar world rather than unipolar world. And while each state, that is each country, had its interests, concerns, priorities, sensitivities, but they should not be one-sided, and the relationship between India and China should be reciprocal in nature, so that we can revamp the relationship, so that we can make sure that the peace and tranquility in the border areas is taken into consideration, so that the rest of the relationship would be conducive for both the countries. And as both the countries are the rising powers, neither India nor China should ignore other sets of aspiration. That is, the either India should not ignore China's aspiration, and China should not ignore India's aspirations. So this was a very clear message sent by our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, and this is part of the international relations and the relationship between India and China. India and China. So this is the crucial information, which is now the relationship between India and China, that is year 2020 is a year of exceptional stress, and this has profoundly disturbed because of the border crisis, and this would also disturb or have a profound repercussions not only on two countries, that is India and China, but also to the entire world. And now we'll look at the COVID-19 performance ranking. This is a keyword which we would be analyzing here, and the COVID-19 performance index has been taken up by an institute called as Lowy Institute, which is an Australian think tank. And as per the COVID-19 performance index, as per Lowy Institute of an Australian think tank, New Zealand and Vietnam has been ranked best performing countries in response to the pandemic in the world. That is for the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So this is in regards to the current affairs, focusing on the health, that is in response to the COVID-19 pandemic situation. and the COVID-19 performance index by the Australian think tank has sought to assess the impact of geography, political system, and economic development in assessing outcome of the pandemic situation. So here the index or the think tank has taken into consideration of assessing the impact of geography, impact of political system, and the impact of economic development in assessing the response to the COVID-19 pandemic situation. And the think tank, Australian think tank, have assessed 98 countries in the entire 36 weeks. And this Sydney based think tank has said that confirmed cases and deaths per million people and the scale of testing has sought to gauge the relative performance of countries. That means they have focused on the relative performance of countries, taking into consideration of the confirmed cases and deaths per million per people and the scale of testing. And the concept of looking at the better response to the virus is by taking into consideration of fewer reported case of deaths both in aggregate and per capita terms. So here we are talking, or we discussed about the relative performance of countries have been focused by the Sydney based think tank in regards to confirming the cases of death per billion, and in regards to the better response of any country to the virus is gauged by the fewer reported cases of death both in aggregate and per capita terms. And they have looked at accurate picture of the extent of the pandemic at the national level, taking into consideration of more tests conducted on a per capita basis. So this is in regards to the extent or more accurate picture of the extent of the pandemic. So this is the concept, how they have gauged the extent of the pandemic at the national level of an individual country is by focusing or gauging more tests conducted on a per capita basis. And they have also looked at or indicated the greatest degree of control over the transmission of COVID-19. This is control over transmission is been gauged by lower rates of positive test. So we have these four criteria which have been taken by the Sydney based think tanks, and how they are focused at the relative performance of a country and in regards to the better response to the virus by any country and the extent of pandemic at the national level of any country and the control of the virus over the transmission is also taken into consideration. So this is very important, how they are focused at the performance. And if you look at the ranking out of 98 countries, India ranked at 86, US as 94, Brazil also is at the bottom of the index, that is at the 98. And if you look at the top 5, it is Taiwan, Thailand and Cyprus are the top in the top 5, and Sri Lanka is the best faring nations or best performing nations in South Asia with a rank of 10, and Maldives is at 25, Pakistan at 69, Nepal at 70, Bangladesh at 84. This information could be a probable question for the current affairs, which is the COVID-19 performance index. COVID-19 performance index. As per the COVID-19 performance index, which is conducted by a Lowy Institute, which is an Australian think tank. And the think tank has also said that China could not be taken into consideration of the COVID-19 performance index due to lack of publicly available data on testing. And the think tank has also made it very clear that one of the factor which is very crucial is the population size, and they made it very clear that the smaller countries with fewer population, that is less than 10 million people, they have the consistently outperformed, or their performance is consistently very good than their larger counterparts. That means having more than 100 million population. So here the consideration what the think tank has taken as one of the factor is the population size. The smaller the countries, the performance of the COVID-19 performance index was greater. And the think tank has concluded in general that countries with smaller population, cohesive societies and capable institutions have comparative advantage in dealing with global crises such as pandemic. So this statement is crucial. That is, the countries with smaller population, cohesive societies and capable institutions have had a comparative advantage in dealing with the global crisis such as pandemic. And the International Monetary Fund chief economist Geeta Gopinath has delivered a lecture at the National Council for Applied Economic Research. And here she has stressed that there is a risk of sharp rise in inequality, and because of the sharp rise in inequality, millions of Indians would be entering into extreme poverty. So this is a question which the chief economist at IMF, Geeta Gopinath, has hinted the extreme poverty wherein millions would be entering because there is sharp rise in inequality. And she has also focused or stressed on the wasteful spending in the budgets, and this is a perennial problem. So she was making it very clear that these are the challenges which has to be plugged in, and once plugged in there would be more fiscal support for the Indian economy. And this was the challenges which were highlighted, underscored by IMF chief economist Geeta Gopinath. And now we will look at the chief economist Geeta Gopinath. While she was lecturing, she has also proposed what India should do for a better fiscal policy. She said that India should have a privatization plan for public sector firms. Please do understand, this all can be taken as measures for your mains answer writing. That how best we can raise the fiscal support wherein India is at a risk of sharp rise in inequality with millions entering into extreme poverty. So to overcome millions entering into extreme poverty and having more of inequality or sharp rise in inequality, what are the measures? So you can take all this or consider all this as measures as part of your mains answer for economy, fiscal policy, to improve fiscal policy and to make sure that millions do not enter into extreme poverty. First one is to have a credible privatization plan for public sector firms, and the second one is to plug the gaps in the GST collections. We have seen that there are gaps. That is why the finance ministry had a difficult time in compensating the GST collection to the states. And the third one is to cut the wasteful expenditure from the budget in order to contain borrowing cost. And India should also enhance fiscal support for the Indian economy, and India must continue to provide support to the weaker sections. India should increase outlays for National Employment Guarantee Scheme in the year 2021 as it has done in the year 2020 also. And India should also have the policies in kind and in cash. These are the two keywords. So India should have the policies in kind and in cash support which were taken up in the year 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic situation, and which were expired in 2020, and what chief economist Geeta Gopinath of IMF, chief economist, is saying that those policies which were in kind and in cash should be deployed again in 2021. And India should also go ahead with Manrega, that is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, should be expanded in the year 2021 as it did in the year 2020. And what is the need, or why it has to be expanded even in the year 2021, is to prevent the rise in inequality. Please do understand, rise in inequality. Once the millions, or there is rise in inequality, millions would be pushed to the extreme poverty, into extreme poverty, and this is the cause of concern. And these are the measures which were proposed by the IMF chief economist Geeta Gopinath. So this is crucial information which you can consider it, all this proposed by Geeta Gopinath as measures to improve the fiscal plan, and also to make sure that to prevent the inequality and to stop people or millions of people pushing into extreme poverty. And the question of the day for the mains examination is: countries with smaller population, cohesive societies and capable institutions have comparative advantage in dealing with global crises such as pandemic. Discuss. So this, please do try to write an answer, because this was in general been concluded by the Australian think tank which has come up with the COVID-19 performance index. So how the smaller population, cohesive societies and capable institutions have a comparative advantage in dealing with global crisis. Any global crisis here we are talking about, such as pandemic. Here we have taken instance of pandemic, but in toto, any global crisis, a country with smaller population, cohesive societies, all together coordinated and capable institutions can deal any kind of global crisis. Please do try to attempt this answer. And now we will recapitulate the DNA. We have looked at this from polity perspective. We have looked at the articles here, Article 87 and Article 108, and this we have focused at the first Chief Justice of India, Attorney General and the first Prime Minister when the Supreme Court has had its seat for the first time in the court hall in the Parliament in the year 1950 on January 28 for prelims perspective. And this in regards to the Atmanirbhar Bharat and the self-reliance India we have focused, and how Prime Minister has spoken, or he has balanced between the nationalistic approach and globalization approach. Here in regards to the India-China relations, we have focused how our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar has suggested way forward for the India-China ties to revamp. And this is in regards to the COVID-19 performance index taken up by the Australian think tank, and what are the measures he has also focused. And this is in regards to the IMF chief economist Gopi Nath has spoken about the measures how India can improve the fiscal support and stop millions entering into or slipping into extreme poverty. So we have discussed at length in regards to the micro level prelims and mains perspective, and which is certainly an informative and knowledgeable session. And I would say a very big thank you to all. Good luck to you all. Do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule, take care of your physical health and mental health, and do not forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe the AKS IAS Academy English Medium YouTube channel, and also have access to the website and also to the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy, that is Advanced Knowledge System. And then see you tomorrow with the DNA, that is Daily News Analysis. Till then, thank you, goodbye, and then take care.